All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, press. Good to see you. Apologies. Good morning, Sandy. Sandy, I missed. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm like, where's Sandy? I apologize because I was expecting this to go on to the back to the. Good morning, press. Good to see you. Hold on a second. Okay. I was expecting this to be on the Circle live room. I had made the change, but apparently it didn't stick. Maybe I didn't save it right. But I was expecting we are going to be back on Monday or Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. We are going to be on the Circle live stream room. Glenn and I are Glenn's gonna continue using Zoom for the Monday or the Wednesday afternoon and the Friday morning, and on the Tuesday evenings. And then I'll either use Zoom on Tuesday and Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll either use Zoom Tuesday, Thursday, or I might still use the internal. I'm not sure. I'm still deciding. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to automate it so that you just have to click join and it'll pop you in. But just recognize that it's going to be slightly different experiences. So sometimes with Glenn, it's going to pop you into Zoom and it'll just be boom. You pop into his meeting. You see everyone in there. And if you join like these meetings, it'll pop you in to the live room. So anyways, we feel like we've got it ironed out and we have all the right meeting places for each of the different types of meetings that we conduct. Good morning, Bob Rowland. Good to see you. Good morning, Glenn. Glad to have you joining. Glenn's going to join us he's going to join us today, and next week he's going to join us, but next week he's going to lead, and I'll be here. Next week is go time for my family and I to head off for our trip. So we leave in the evening and Sunday, and so I'll be here in the morning, but I'm going to let Glenn run it and put his spin on the posture and just kind of keep it going. I'm going to start the recording now and get this officially going because... Okay, and now good morning officially to everybody, and welcome out to Weekly Market Prep. It was a little bit of confusion. I see your comment, Press. Does anyone know how to access the live events from Circle using the mobile app? On the desktop, it says join live, not so on mobile. Here's what I would always say. Let me look into that for our next meeting, and I'll tell you, because I actually found myself trying to do some things from the mobile app, and I was working with Glenn back and forth, and I recognize that there are some limitations on it, so I do want to try to look into that, and I'll see what I can do. Okay. What were we saying? A couple of things, but one thing that I did want to make note of. So what I'm going to do with the poll, we're going to do our market posture together now. Steven's posted his already. If you go look, you'll find that. But after we conduct our market posture as a group, which basically is mine, right? I'm kind of saying what I think, but I'll bounce ideas off of everyone and sometimes let that influence it. And I know people are doing their own score, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. But to create a consensus, the way I think it's best is I'm going to, after I post the recap, the recording link and the recap that I put on the little summary, I'm going to post another weekly post around this meeting, and it's going to be the poll. So that way you have from anytime. It'll be like maybe a half hour behind the end of this meeting. So sometime between then and tomorrow morning. So what I'm going to do is just leave it open, and then tomorrow morning, right before we meet. So you even have like right before we meet to go in, and you can just put your score in, and then I'll give the average. Then I'll report the score on Monday. Let's figure that's a good way, because a lot of people are watching and doing their scoring while the meeting is happening, and then they're not going to be ready. So I figure that's the best way. Let me know your thoughts about that. Otherwise, let's dive into things. First and foremost, as always, let me remind you, our subscription is for education illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give advice, and we don't give recommendations. What are we going to do today? We are going to obviously conduct our market posture. That's the routine. That's the routine that hopefully, if you've been with us for a little while now, you see how we rely on it. At times when the market is a little more iffy, we rely on it to slow us down, to reduce our risk, to lessen the number of trades that we have, to say, hey, relax. These aren't the conditions where you're expecting to make great money, so just relax. Of course, the only way for us to know when the right conditions come is we have to stay engaged, right? We have to keep playing. If you're sitting at a poker table and you're like, man, I'm not getting good cards, you can't just like get up, leave for an hour, come back and be like, now the cards will be better. Well, how do you know? It could be still terrible. You actually might have missed an hour of amazing cards because you got up and left and you came back and you have crap cards. You can't. It's the same thing, right? We don't check out when the conditions are down. We trade less. We trade smaller. We still try to find opportunities. I think a good representation of that was October. The posture stayed around a 4, so it stayed favorable, but it was sideways for the month. Yeah, and as I asked the question, how do we do? Anyone in the group who answered, and I get they're going to answer because they're happy about it, but they were profitable when the market was flat. That's what outperformed the market. That's the objective. Okay, so we're going to go through the posture. We are going to look at the upcoming economic calendar to see what type of information is going to be coming our way. I still need to make a few adjustments to the slides for the new mechanism, but we're now doing our searching on Tuesday evenings when we need a sector. But when we talk about sector searching, here's what I mean. What sector do we need? What you'll notice right now, our watch list has felt great. It's big, a lot of good stocks, a lot of different things to look at. But as we go on, inevitably, you're going to find certain pieces start to feel stale. They start to go sideways. And that doesn't mean, it could mean that the group is underperforming, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It might just mean that the stocks we have are now not as good. And so what we want to be doing is thinking, do we need to bounce the old stocks and go find new ones? And so if there's ever a time where we feel our watch list is somewhat underrepresented by any one group, right now we have 5 full groups, the big 5. Tech in favor, financial in favor, industrial in favor, consumer discretionary in favor, communication services in favor. So that gives us a lot of different places to go. And there's even ability to find trades in the others. It's not like we are anti the others. We're saying that the big 5 are leading us right now. So let's go find the best of the big 5 and put them in our watch list, and then let's find trades in there. Watch list maintenance. If there's anything we see we don't like, we'll get rid of it. Let's really flag the early week opportunity list. That's a crucial list. If you hold on one second. my screen just went black. Oh, there we go. I'm like, what just happened? Sorry about that. My screen just went black. You're going to see black for a second. I'm not sure what happened, but let me just see if I lost any charts. No, I think we still have everything that we need. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me just catch up. Sandy was talking about press. Yes, Bob Roland. When I go into that, we'll get the volume for you. No problem. Welcome, Vladimir. Good to see you. Welcome, John Welsh. Glad to have you. Did I say hi, Kevin? I'm a little distracted by the differences in what I expected when I launched and what I got. Okay, let's keep going. And then my screen going black. I don't know what happened there. But let's get to the... Did we finish? Yeah, we did. Let's get our posture. Let's just get to the posture. Okay. Now, if at any given time someone's like, hey, where do I get this? Remember that all the documentation is available easily in our resources space. So make sure that you have all of that information. Good morning, Ray. Good to see you. Good morning, Janet. Okay. Where are we? Where are we going? So we've had a very, very nice... Stephen D., good to see you. Sorry if you had a delay getting in. I was expecting us to be in the live, the Circle live room today. And that's where we will be going forward on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays for the core meetings. They will be in the Circle live room going forward. So tomorrow morning, it will not be. If you come to the YouTube live, if that's where you'd like to go, it will still be there. But I will not be monitoring chat on YouTube live anymore. The chat will be inside Circle. So Circle live room. Going forward. So I apologize. I thought that's where I was going to be, but I apparently didn't save it okay. Good morning. Okay. Good. Hello, Scabelli. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but hello to you as well. Good to see. Okay. Let's get to it. Let's hit the market. We got to get going. Okay. That might be what caused it. I had an issue. Unlocked it. It always does this. You guys ever have that? And then it freezes it. So my Thinkorswim locked, and it's like, click here to unlock it. I'm like, okay, I'll unlock it. And 1, 2, I don't know which one it is. And task. Okay, give me 1 second. I thought it was going to let me get back in, and then it didn't. And then, of course, I closed the wrong one. When it rains, it pours. Okay. Sorry. Couldn't get into TOS last night, Clint said. Okay. Well, let me Let me take a second here. We want to get to this anyway. Let's talk about next week's economic calendar. We have a little bit of time while my thing reloads. First and foremost, not much. Right? Wholesale inventories, nobody cares. Let me move this over. CPI, yeah, we're watching that. But again, I don't think we're watching that with like, oh, what happens on Wednesday CPI is going to influence the Fed. So the Fed is, let's see where we're at there. Fed announces in 10 days. So a week from Wednesday, the Fed will make the next announcement. Steven said, still looking for the 0.25 rate reduction. And I agree with that. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm having a... Let me try my Thinkorswim one more time. Okay, so is anyone having problems with Thinkorswim now? I just want to make sure I ask before I keep trying to get in if it's not me. Let me know. I'm going to just try to get that login again. Okay. I agree, Stephen. And you can see the market does too substantially, right? Substantially. It's really moved. There we go. It's really moved to where just got in a bit slow. That's what I'm finding too, Clint. That's what I'm finding too. But if you look at where we are now, for a minute, it got back to like 1.5 to 1. It was like 55 to 40 or like 60-40, where they're like, maybe they're not going to cut it. And then it got to 2 to 1. It was, 66-33. And then it got to 75 to 25. And now we're at 86-14. Right? 86-14. Okay, let's get our charts up. We're back. Since we started with the calendar, let's finish. We have CPI on Wednesday, PPI on Thursday. Again, you can see jobless claims sitting down in the low 200s, 224. What are the expectations? Staying the same here. Slight uptick on the year over year. Slight uptick on the CPI. Flat on producer price index. We don't really have the expectations yet, so I don't think it matters. If there was a slight uptick, it's not like, oh, there was a slight uptick. Now they're not going to lower it. They're going to do what they're going to do. Whatever you think they're going to do, that's what you're going to think regardless of what information comes out. Okay, so let's go look at these charts. Because charts are fun. Okay. Let me get my chat back up here. Okay. Let's get a couple of things done here. I'm going to recalibrate the size of my panels because I don't need them very big. Bob Rowland wants me to show how to get the 20-day moving average onto the volume panel. So what am I going to do? I'm going to come to this little beaker. This is my Edit Studies beaker, my laboratory of technical analysis. At least that's what I think it is. Someone else might be like, that's not a beaker. What are you talking about, Scott? It's a beaker. Then I have my list of indicators over here. So all I have when I do it is I have simple moving average, 20-day. I've gone back and forth between 20 and 50. I've had both 20 and 50, and I feel like 20 is where I want. You can play with it if you want to. So how do I find this? I come over here. I type in the word SIMP. It narrows it down. Simple moving average. From here, If I add selected, it's going to pop it across. Okay, so if I say add selected, but when I add selected, it moves it into price. I don't want it into price. It also starts it as a 9-day. I don't want 9 days. Anytime I have an aspect of a technical indicator that I don't want, it means I have something that I do want. So I need to go edit. I can right click and edit, or I can click on this little cog. That's to edit. And when I come in here, I can change the length to 20. And I can change what it applies to. Right now, it is a... Whoops, I thought I got my drawing tool. It's not letting me draw. It's not going to let me draw today. Hold on. Let me get my drawing tool ready. Nothing's working today. 16 shopping days till Christmas. That's very exciting. Okay. Where's my pen? All right, there we go. Is it going to work now? Price is right. I don't want to apply this to the close. I want to apply this to volume. That's it. So now that I've changed it to 20 or whatever period you want, and you change it from that and you hit OK, and you hit OK, then you can see it's moved it. Now I have 2 of these. They're the same thing. I don't need 2. And that's it. Moving average is now applied. Okay. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. And let's talk about our posture. We are a 7.25 last week. That's the highest it's ever been. The week before we were a 7. That was tied for the highest it's ever been since we worked as a group on this number. I've seen higher. I've seen higher. Not much. It's good. It's a great score, right? If you're like, hey, have you seen a 10? Obviously not. You know how reluctant I am. So 8.5, 8, maybe. So anyways. Okay. Let's start at the top. Long-term trend. Out of 2 points, we're currently 1.5. What does that mean? It means that 1.5 is what we have assigned to these blue lines. It's the same that it was on the green lines. And what we've realized is that we had a shift in this little correction right here. And now it's moving in the same trajectory, right? We had scored it down, but we're like, well, wait a second. It's not moving at this. This red line is 1.25. The red line is 1.25. So we basically said, now that it seems like it's actually moving on that same angle, let's just redraw, recalibrate it with some blue lines that just give us a sense. And am I going to leave it there to just kind of help me see? Yeah, I am. Right? Absolutely. So what is my score? Same score. Nothing changed. Nothing changed at all. It's a strong score, and that's what we're going with. Let me know if you have questions on that, or if you disagree. Let's move on and go to the short-term score. Okay, so short-term score. Let's dial back to the 6-month daily. On our short-term score, let's see what we're coming in with. And out of 3 points, we're at a 175. We're at a 175. Real quickly, so you can see it down here. That's a 0. If you're moving this way, you'd be like, that's a 0. Then you think, what's the best? And it's like, that's about as good as it gets to either way on short term. And then you fill in the blanks, right? And you say, okay, my lines are terrible, but you get the gist. 3, 2, 1, -1, -2, -2, right? So as you draw your channels, now this is a 3-point scale. because we're short term. 2 points if it's long term. We give more credence to short term. Why? Because we're short term traders. It makes sense. So what are we seeing right now? We're seeing something that kind of, let me change my color. Something in this vein, right? Nice, solid. Is it like this big, strong, super shooting up trend? No, it's just a nice, solid trend line. Let's see if I pull this away, if it looks right. It's pretty good, right? You can kind of see, maybe I have my pink a little steeper, but now you come up and you're like, this is what we see. So I might be a little steeper than that, but that's closer to a 2, whereas we actually see this as a 1.5. So yeah, actually I'd say pretty good, right? That's where that score's coming from. It's the trend. We're scoring the trend. We feel pretty good about it. So there you go. Questions, let me know. So as of right now, no change for me. 1.5 still good. 1.75 still good. Volume. Now we've been saying that we're expecting volume to drop. Not because sellers are taking control, but because we don't need volume in an ongoing trend. Right? When someone's like, oh, I look for 125% volume when I buy. I'm like, are you buying breakouts? Or just any time you buy? Because if it's any time, that's just silly. It doesn't make any sense. Why? You don't have volume on support bounces in uptrends. It's just things in motion stay in motion, right? It's properties of physics. We don't need the outside force. You need the outside force when you're changing trend, when you're breaking out of support or resistance. That's when you need something more. When you're just moving in the direction you're moving, we don't need it. So if we have a strong trend score, I actually don't expect volume to be there, personally. Or at least not much. 0 to 1/4 point. But let's go see. Okay? If it stays. Now for this, we're dropping down to the 1 month daily. That's it. Just the last month. And this is where when it updates and it gets rid of the weekend days, I forgot that it does this. Because I was saying on Friday, I'm like, oh, we have all 3 days. But I forgot that it kicks them off. Now what? Now we only have this one. And I said, if I only have 1 day, this 1 day, I'm canceling that. I'm not going to include that. It's too stale. I'm only going to now score this. And I want you to notice that on Friday, because I forgot, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be still plenty of buying days. I'm still going to score it a 0.5 point. Nope. I don't think that at all. We cancel this day, and what do we have? Tie, sell, buy, tie. 1 buy day, 1 sell day. No, I usually say sell. 1 sell day, 1 buy day, 2 tie days. 1, 1, 2. What is that? That's a tie. That's a tie. These 2 wash out. These are ties. This is a tie. Tie goes to who? The buyers. A tie, for me, is 1/4 point. Tie equals 0.25. That's where I am. It's a tie. And next week, what are we going to lose? These 2. So all we'll have left is 1 buy day and 1 tie day. And those will be quite stale. So what will I think? Basically, it's nothing. If this is all we have, it's a tie. It's a 0. Right? Actually, that's not a tie. That's a 0. That's a 0. A tie is a 0.25. No above average volume days is a 0. So I'm lowering my score. Let me know what you did on this one. And I'm just going to take this back out. Let me go to... Okay, so we dropped 1/4 point. Is that concerning to me? That we touched 7.25 and then we drop back down a little bit. Well, we might not. We still might see the VIX give us something. We're not sure yet. But no, if I go up and touch 7.25 and come back to 7, I'm not like, oh my gosh, watch out below. I'm like, that's nothing. That's not even a blip. That's right. When we move a quarter, a half, even 3/4 of a point in the normal progression of things, we don't look at that and think there's implications behind it. Okay, 7. Now what? Let's go get to major. No, we're not a 7 yet. Sorry. We're halfway there. Let me get to major market. Now again, I'm going to pause for just 1 second. I'm going to pause for 1 second here. And I'm going to remind everybody that in our circle room, circle community, if you scroll down on the left-hand side under links, you can find some of this stuff that we're doing now. But most importantly, here are these group downloads. You have your market posture log here, trading plan outline, and then if you come over here to your links, you have all of the different links that we use. If you want to use major market analysis, that's right here. Sector rotation, that's right here. There's our economic calendar, etc. So as we're getting ready to do these, you're like, how do I find that you're using, Scott? This exact analysis. What I see right here is what you'll have on your page if you click on that link. Okay, major market. 200 days. What do we have? We have uptrends, and who do we have at the top? NASDAQ, technology, as expected. Who's in second? Russell. Who's in third? S&P. Who's lagging behind? The Dow, the large caps. This is textbook. Textbook bullish positioning, demonstrating an increased or elevated appetite for risk. When the general investor sees the market bullish, what do they think? I want to make some money. I'm willing to take some risk. I don't want to sit in my old, slow blue chips. I want to move into small caps that can move fast. I want to move into technology that can move fast. That's the appetite for risk that we see demonstrating itself in this analysis. So on this first show, it's giving us a bullish foundation. Now in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see I'm going to be changing the time frame. Now I'm going to go down to, Now I'm going to go to 133. Now, always make sure that this is all the way to the right. Sometimes I don't, and people in the group will be like, you're not all the way over, Scott. And I'm like, you're right. And I'll go check. Make sure. What do we have here? Still bullish. Now, you'll notice the Russell's up near the top. The NASDAQ's up near the top. And then in this case, the Dow is. So we have to stop and ask, when we see the Dow not lagging, but in the group, do we see it there because A, everything is strong, the tide is up, and all the boats are up, even the big ones? Or do we think it's there because things are looking sketchy and people are starting to move money out of growth elements like NASDAQ and Russell 2000 in order to position more defensively into safer things? Okay, so we look at this and we say, what do we think this is? Well, I see the Russell touched a new high and has pulled back a little bit. I don't think money's flowing out. I see the NASDAQ pushing up to the highest point. So no, I don't think there's anything defensive about this. I think this looks very growth oriented. So that looks fine. We move on to 66 days. Now we're at 3 months. More of the same. Who's at the top? NASDAQ. Who's second? Russell. In the middle, S&P. And this confirms what we thought in that middle time frame. That middle time frame could have had a correction or something in it that would have given a little more credence to the large caps. But in this case, this confirms that it's the original mindset that we had. This is our scoring mindset. So basically, we just had a perfect distribution of how the alignment of the major market indices are established. Great. I don't need to look ahead to score, but I'm going to look ahead. Just to kind of see what's coming. And we see that the NASDAQ looks amazing. Little bit of sideways action, not down, but a little sideways on the Russell. The Russell can get ahead of itself, and then it eases up a little bit. So is that concerning to me? No, it's just barely showing up. It's a little bit of a pullback. Not concerning at all. Now, if it continues to happen, then we might be a little bit more concerned. But for me, this looks amazing. I think no problem here. Okay. Sorry, I missed that question from press, but great answers by both Stephen and Miguel. In fact, let me go back and let me give you a little bit of extra, like something that you would be able to use to reflect on that. So I actually forgot to do our check-in. So let me go back and remind you that one of the things we'll do is we'll take the starting point and the ending point. And even though there was this dip, overall, this is a positive slope. So for me, that supports my 0.25. Now, if for example, we did this and this kind of topped out here and went sideways and it didn't give this last little bullish piece, right? Let's say we didn't have that. And I went from here to here. I'd be like, you know what? Usually tie goes to the buyers, but with this going straight sideways, I'm going to call that a zero. We're not dogmatic by any stretch, right? We're not dogmatic by any stretch as to how we interpret this. This is why we want a discussion, because we want to think about implications. The implications are what's important of the analysis. So for me, having a tie and having a slightly positive sanity check at the end, that makes sense. I'm like, great, that connects. If I had a 0.25 and the sanity check was sideways, I'd be like, you know what? That doesn't check. And press, you'd be like, hey, shouldn't this be a zero? And I'd be like, you know what? I think you're right. So we have a bit of ability, a bit of discretion. And you know, people will start screaming. Some traders are like, discretion is the enemy of repeatability. I disagree fundamentally with that. There's always going to be a measure of discretion. So rather than pretend like we're going to be able to trade like robots someday, let's embrace it. Let's accept it. And let's find that ambiguity is just very small, right? That discretion is small. Me putting a 0 or a 0.25 is not going to fundamentally change things, but it just gives us that ability to have that fine tuning. I think we should embrace it. So that's a great question. Thank you, Miguel and Stephen, for turning it into a discussion, and I hope I was able to clean it up. And let's go back now. I think we can skip ahead to sector rotation. I feel like it was like a choppy start, but we have a good flow going right now. I feel pretty happy about it. Let's go to sectors. Let's go to sectors. Okay. The same analysis, and if you're new within the last few months, this is weird and interesting. We've been having conversations about the fact that utilities has been like this leading presence on this 200-day time frame. We've had speculation about what that's from, being driven by AI development, being driven by cryptocurrency explosion, and the fact that it could be more balanced and not necessarily defensive. We're not sure yet, but we were able to weigh that in using discretion. right? If you were just like, nope, utilities are always defensive, then you would be looking at the market fundamentally differently. And we, I think, assessed it exactly the right way. But let's just keep moving in. But what else besides that? Financials at the top, communication services at the top, discretionary at the top, industrials. And then look who's coming back into the foray. Technology. Those are the big five. Down here we have what? Healthcare, materials, energy, staples, right? This again has a little bit more weirdness to it, but still overall has a bullish perspective. Now what? 133 days. Discretionaries at the top. Financials look great. Communication services look great. Industrial still in that mix. S&P, and then here's technology coming back in. Same big five. Big five. When the big five lead across all three time frames, we're bullish. It's pretty simple. That's what's going on. We're buying things, we're building things, we're financing things, and technology is being used every step of the way. Right? Discretionary, we're buying things. Communication services, things are getting marketed. We're talking about it and watching it. Technology, we're using it. Financials, it's getting financed. Industrials, it's getting built. Those are the five. So what does that mean for my score? It stays a 1. There's nothing that needs to change there. Let's drop down to 33. Oops, nope, not 333. Let's just go 33. Even on 33, where is the big push right now? Oh, Santa Claus, Santa Rally. Is it going into discretionary? Are we shopping? Is the indomitable U.S. consumer shopping for Christmas? Oh, hell yes. That is absolutely true. Okay, you know what? I got to reload I'm not sure if I'm live on the chat, so let me see if I can catch up here. I might have been missing some comments. That's why I'm going back. Nope. Okay. I might have missed some chat, you guys. I didn't see anything after the press Stephen Miguel exchange. This is why I like the Circle room better. So again, I thought it had changed it, but tomorrow morning we will be back on the Circle live stream room, and going forward, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesday, Friday, main core meetings will be in the Circle main room. So, sorry. Nope. I don't know why. That's a great catch, Stephen. I meant to hit 22. Doesn't change anything now. But yeah, I thought I hit 22. Why 33 and not 22? Fat finger. Yeah, fat finger. Okay, let's go finish this, and then let's get to the watch list. Call it a day. Let's get to the VIX. What does the VIX tell us? I don't... It's kind of funny because I feel like there's an argument to be made. I want to hear from everybody on this one. That we came down from this level and we got to this new low. And then we went up a little and came down. Okay. We're back at 12. Back at 12. Are we at 1.5? Yeah, it's pretty easy to make an argument for a 1.75. This was a lower low back here. Then we had this lower high. This is another lower low. And almost even a technical lower high. I mean, it went up and then it turned even lower. So whether you score this, I feel like us pushing down here warrants another 1/4 point. I'm putting it on. Tell me if you think I'm too aggressive on this one, but I'm going to take this on up to a 175, which maintains. I said, don't let the fact that we lost a 1/4 point on volume, because everything else Everything else is strong enough to carry it. We don't need volume. We don't need the buyers to be like walking with swagger in this market. Everything else is strong enough, right? So there it is for me. 725 is where I stay. A very, very strong December. This is what we've been talking about, right? We talked about October being sideways. We traded through it quite well. We talked about getting more aggressive coming out of that break in November. Mark, we had the election. We got what we wanted. Our posture popped, and we've been trading more aggressively. More trades, right? Remember what we said. So now we're talking, and if you're new, hopefully this is going to help you with this transition. We start with market posture. We do it Sundays because there's no risk at stake. There's no pressures. We can sit back and we can be very analytical. We can be very logical. We can be unemotional. We can be the professor, right? If you've never heard me talk about the three of us, there is the three of you. There's the professor, the computer, and the chimp. That's what you have in your office with you at play. The professor's who's running the show, the computer's what we're trying to automate, and the chimp's trying to disrupt everything. Well, the chimp's in his cage asleep on Sundays. But come Monday morning, he's going to start rattling his cage trying to get out. So what are we doing? We're establishing as much as we can now that guides us through the week. We're going to meet again in 22 hours. What's going to change? Nothing. We have the futures. That's it. Nothing fundamentally changes. So you're like, well, why are we meeting in 22 hours? Because we have to transition from market posture to trading posture. Market posture gives us our edicts and our dictates that say how much risk, how many trades, where should those trades be? How tight should my stops be? Should I be panicking if a trade hiccups early on? Hell no. I should be holding on to it. Don't take losses easily in this market. What about anticipation? Yeah, I'll anticipate trades in this market. If I was a 3, would I be anticipating? Would I be taking my losses sooner? Yes. So fundamentally, my rules don't change, but how I implement things change based on market posture. And then we look to translate to trading posture. What is trading posture? What are you doing right now? Right now, today. Are you going to take a trade? On what? Is it there, right? We don't force trades because we're bullish. Doesn't mean we go slap bullish trades on willy-nilly. That's the transition. Yeah? Okay. Yes, Sandy said Santa's coming to town. So we've done great with this. We've been pushing harder. We said, hey, can I have 2 or 3 trades in one sector? Of course. Right now. This is where you're looking to get your portfolio heat when you go look at your trading plan. Your portfolio heat should be at. This is what we're looking for. This is our market. If your portfolio heat says I get it up to 12, you should be at 12 when you're, well, not necessarily today, but you should be willing to get to 12. I'm gonna put a shout out to Miguel because I know he's been pushing chips on the table. He's been having his trades on. He's been getting them in multiple places. Sound off a little, Miguel. How's that been working in this market over the last? What are we going to say? We're going to say over the last 5 weeks. Anything you've pushed, anything you've really got on, you're going to be like, yeah, I feel good about it. Okay, let's get to that watch list. Let me get back to something else. There we go. Let me get out here. And you can see that on the alerts. We'll get 2 or 3, no problem, every week in this kind of a market. I do want to point one thing out. If you guys remember this panicky time, we're getting closer to this dropping off our 6-month. I cannot wait for that. It's so much. If I just take this here, it's just like you can see things so much better once that big old thing is gone. It's so funny. Okay, let's start with Apple. Yeah, technology has topped out. It's starting to roll over. What is our first thought? Flag. That's always our first thought, right? Flag to big flag to pull back, which means that right? When I think flag, I think here's a flag. A bigger flag might be like this, right? What if it comes all the way to here? Well, that's more of a pullback. All of those are viable. All of those are bullish. All of those could happen from now. I need to be ready for the flag to happen within a couple of days, right? Any of this could get us ready for a trade. So it's the second we see it top out, start pulling back, make this cross. What are we thinking? That's the setup. Okay, so let's get this list built for this week. Amazon, it's just not there yet, right? It is just not there yet. Now, some of you may still be running. This is back when we were looking at it. We didn't end up putting it on, but that's the look. That's our trade. Pull back, stay above the 50, and get our turn up out of there. Does it always do this? No, but if it's going to do this, it's going to start with this. AppLovin, same thing. AXP. Oh, AXP. So AXP has the right candle, pinching, but hasn't turned. Could you have taken this as an anticipatory trade? Yes. Still valid going into next week and looking for a full confirmation on Monday? Yes. One I'm thinking about for a trade alert? Yes. BAC. Okay, we got the alert. It turned. By the end of the day, not as much, but we got what we wanted. And then what? It hiccuped. So what? Are we out? Of course not. Of course not. We don't take losses easily in a bullish market. BK did the same thing. So we have to ask ourselves, was that because we picked the wrong thing? No, that was banks. AXP didn't do it because that's credit. That's not the same thing in financial, right? Bank, broker, bank, kind of similar, still valid. Looks great. I would actually still consider Blackstone for a go, right? So, yeah, it's not a problem. Carrier, industrials, still setting up, right? Not by a lot. It's right at the edge. I would still consider that viable, but I like Caterpillar better. I still think it's viable. I still think industrials has something for us. And I'm flagging industrials as our search sector. A few things we've watched have been like, I think we can find a couple of other good things. So let's keep out for that. CLS, no, still going up. There's nothing there for us. If you're in it, you're still in it. And I know a few people took this one. We talked about this one. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember who took this. Who was it? Oh, my mind is blanking on me. Someone took it. Steven did well with Cisco. CLS looking at BAC. Yes, well done. Well done. Share here. Share in the room. Share victories with each other. And also share the, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you, this is how I judge the merit of traders. I'll let Glenn weigh in on this as well. I judge traders, not how they talk about wins, but how they talk about losses. It's that simple for me. Right? So if I'm going to be like, I want to understand the legitimacy of a trader when they come and they start talking to me. If they're like, oh, I took this trade and I bought this and it was 100%, 1,000% up and blah, blah, and it's like a little braggy, like that's, I'm just like, nah, we could all go cherry pick a great trade and go tell you about it. There's nothing in it for me. For me, the guy who talks about that battle with a losing trade to get something back, to stay, right? Like that's the war story that I look for that says this guy's got the 1,000-yard trader stare. So anyways, okay, let's keep going. The short list is, it needs some more. I'm gonna steal probably 5 minutes of your time today, maybe 7. I tend to go long on Sundays, so I apologize. CMG. We're too late, and it never really gave a signal unless you did if you took an anticipatory trade here, you can see your stochastic was still coming down, but you did get that inside day. Maybe you caught this, but it was 5% by the time we could even see it. That's not for me. CNK, yes. Yes, the flag is on. Right? Communication services, theaters, looks good. Strong trend. We love it. Coherent. I would actually say coherent. If you are in it, you might still be trying to squeeze something out. But if you're not in it, you might think this thing could be flagging here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my list. Cisco, same thing, right? I exited mine around here. It's maybe squoze a little more. It looks like it wants to try to turn into the next trade. You guys know I love looking to go back and get another. And another, if possible. DAL, no, I'm not seeing anything there. Diamonds, pulling back. DocuSign, we loved it. But we can't trade before earnings because that just, I don't trade before earnings. But they smashed it. Obliterated it. Fastenal. I would give it actually above the 50 and to here. I'd probably give it to about 2 more points. And I'd still be willing to trade it. Even though we double topped, I would still give it another try. I still like Caterpillar better. And Caterpillar is in a setup. But I do like Fastenal enough still. But this is why these that have turned sideways are what have me saying that I'm thinking about finding some new ones, right? Oh, sorry. That's not what I was looking for. I want to make sure that I have chat. Okay. What's next? Fiserv. Ooh. I said if it can hold the 50 and it held the 50, but I'm a little bit not loving this gap. I'm going to put it on. I think it's a maybe. Okay, let's talk about it. Now, we talked about MicroStrategy and said if you've got the stomach for it. I would say the same thing with this one. What I like about it is that I could put my target at this old high, and that gives me 20 points of upside. If I put my stop down here, I'm only barely getting to, I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on this one. I'm going to put it on the list, but I'm like, I feel like I would rather see this come up, back, give me the higher low, and then I would expect that new trend to... What we saw happen on the market is a very common thing. You see what I have there? The old trend, and then we drop down. Just because it gaps down doesn't mean it's like going to reverse. It could just mean that it shifted to a lower level, same trajectory. So if this comes up and gets to here only and then comes down, my thought is this trend is now going to resume. And we just had this little shift down to this next level. You saw it on the market. You'll see this happen regularly on stocks. Flex. Yeah, we looked at that one. We started to draw it. It hiccuped. It's not failed. But it's I'll leave that there for now. It's on the ropes. GBTC made another new high, starting to pull back. GE Vernova, a little bit sideways. Gold, a little bit sideways. General Motors, sitting on the 50, same thing. If you think it's just a new trajectory, well, then you might have something different here, right? So I think GM is viable. Google, nothing there yet, but maybe it's... Actually, I'll put it on. Maybe it's starting to pull back. Maybe. And Meta has been strong, so we'll see. Goldman Sachs looks great. Broker, not bank, right? Home Depot, I'll put it on the retail list. Home Depot still looks pretty good. Robinhood, strong but not really tradable. It's very choppy. HWM, same kind of a thing. IBM, no pullback yet. IP, yes. I will put IP on my list. That's a basic materials stock, so that's interesting for us, right? I'm not unwilling to trade. I just want to make sure I'm trading the right stuff. IWM, beautiful. Small caps look plenty good for a setup. I'm going to put that on my list. I'd be willing to trade an IWM directly. JCI. Yeah, put it on the list with the others, but I like still Caterpillar the best. KKR, yes, of course. You know I love KKR. You know I would love to take another trade on KKR. That would be our fourth, I believe. Love KKR. It's been a great KKR and PLTR, two of the best for me in the second half of 2024. MasterCard, viable, but I like AXP better. Meta, strong but needs a pullback. Let's put it on the list because it could flag. And we like Meta. Leading the way. Morgan, I'd still put Morgan on the list. MS, now the list is looking good, right? Microsoft, no. Well, yeah. New high, I'd trade the pullback. Let's put it on. MicroStrategy, I'm not going to put it on because it's just a shark frenzy. Be careful if you take it. NASDAQ, yes. NDAQ. NDAQ is an exchange? Yeah. NDAQ. Netflix, overextended. NVIDIA, I don't know about NVIDIA. It seems to be a little bit weighted. Palantir. Yeah. Is anyone still in this? But congratulations. It hit our full target on Friday. Beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. PayPal. No, nothing really there. Can't wait for Palantir to start pulling back again. Roblox, overextended. Yeah, we got it on our list, but just I didn't have enough time to look at it and feel good about it. Reddit did a similar thing. I'd like to trade those. RKLB is where we ended up with an alert that's coming out. We built it Friday. It's coming out today. I didn't send it Friday because I'm just going to send it today to let you prepare for it. So I will send the alert out today for this. You'll see all of that. But if you want to go back and look at Friday's recording, you can watch us build the whole thing. Very exciting. Looks good. Some momentum. SO. That was the one we built, right? I swear that was. SO. You're off the list. Right? No reason to watch somebody breaking down like that. SoFi. Looks great. Put it on the list for potential. Strong list this week. As we would expect, even with the market pushing a little higher here, still have a strong list. Why? Because we actually have good quality to this market where we have leapfrog signals. Some things some days, some things other days. It's perfect. TJX, it's a little choppy, but you can make the argument for that to be with the rest of those retails. Right? You could make that.
This is a reminder.
You could make that argument. T-Mobile. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, T-Mobile. T-Mobile's on the list. Some good ones out of communication services. Toast. Okay. You know what we've been saying about these? I think that there's some possibility for that. Tesla, overextended. It made a move, though. TSM. Overextended. Let's put it on the list to get watching for a pullback. Yeah. The list looks good, you guys. TTD, overextended, but could pull back. Twilio, too high. Upwork. Whoops. Upwork. Yeah, Upwork. Upwork, yes. The dollars pulled back a little bit. Oops. VRT, yeah, it's got a little bit of a move in it. VSCO, made a big move. Walmart overextended. And Zillow looks great. Put it on the list for communication services. Zillow. Man, I didn't have room on my card. I was not very strategic. It's very messy. Now, where is this list going to be? On the Sunday post. In just a bit, you'll see a post come. It'll have the recording if you want to watch anything again. It'll have this list, which is our focus list for this week. And soon enough, you'll also find the post where you can put your score in. Then that'll get averaged. And tomorrow, we'll give a readout on the first Market Watch Group composite score. We'll try to start implementing that as well. Okay. Any questions? AFL. Ooh, let me take a look. Made money with PLTR. Love it. PLTR. Everyone doing a little PLTR dance. I did a little PLTR dance. Aflac. Something happened. I swear we bounced it for some reason. Yeah, I bounced it because it broke the 50 with some volume. I didn't like that so much. John said, do I need an account with Yahoo? See what? No, none of them, John. Like you can get an account with like stock charts where we do our major market and sector rotation. You don't need it. We'll have to sit through some crappy ads a couple of times, but great. They get paid for the ads. So no. You don't need it for Yahoo Finance. You don't need it for any of the things that we look at. So, and the links are there. PLTR is third best performer this year. I love it, man. Love it. TJX MCD. TJX is on the list and is on the short list, Janet. So good call on that one. It's kind of in a little bit of... We're in this, the sellers have the floor, and they're just not doing anything with it, even still. So it's hard to find what our trigger is going to look like, but I like the strength of the stock, for sure. Second of all, Mickey Donald's. It was on our list, but I dropped it for some reason. I think I dropped it when it gapped on the earnings, and it's just grinding sideways. I just don't love that one. I love the McRib. I don't love the stock. That's where I stand on McDonald's. Okay, good questions. Anything else? How are we feeling? Ready to transition into Monday? Ready to pick up our Santa rally where we left off? It's good to see everybody. The schedule remains the same this next week, so look for that. I know YouTube is working well, but you can still watch on YouTube if you prefer it. I just won't see your comments. We will be back in the live stream room tomorrow morning. Ooh, Janet snuck one more question in Disney. Disney put will work out with a rising wedge. If it breaks the wedge down, the put will work. I'd be careful. It's a very strong stock right now. My general philosophy and my general trading rules say I don't sell strength, and I don't buy weakness. And by that I mean a put is selling, right? You're anticipating selling. This is very strong. It's big move, gap, big move. Now the sellers have come in, and what have they done? Right? They've had this much time, and what have they done? They've moved it from 118 to 116. What I would say is this: do not let it break out above this, because if it breaks out above this, then my thought is we're heading this way. You need it to break out below this. And so what you should do is give yourself a measure of time where it says this thing needs to break in this time, or else I'm going to shut her down, because you're losing money every day you wait for this thing to go, right? So it's a bit of a counter trend trade is what I would call that, to have a put on that. But hey, if it comes, it comes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Yes, tomorrow night. Hey, we had a great group tonight. Or today, not tonight. Great group today. Tomorrow night, we will meet on the, it'll either be on Zoom or it'll be on a live room. Probably Zoom, actually, because we are talking to each other. So, yeah, let's do Zoom. I'll see if I can't rope Glenn in to meet with us, and we'll meet on Zoom, and we'll have a conversation tomorrow. That sounds great. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Happy hour. It's talk about whatever. Obviously, we're traders, so we veer towards trading, but other things as well. Good to see everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday. See you tomorrow. As always, happy trading.